Hi guys, I'm here with Robert Vinelli, and he's the owner of KooKoo's Kitchen in Vaughan. If you guys haven't seen this place, you really gotta check it out. But I want to pick your brain, kind of figure out, why'd you even open up this business? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I sure can. You know what? Very simply put, I was diagnosed with diabetes type 2 at the age of 21.
Wow.
Okay. So in talking, with my doctor on the reasons why, he basically said, yes, it's in your DNA, adulthood diabetes. You should have been a lot later in life. However, you got a little bit of a young age, right? And I asked him why that is, and he said, here in Canada and your generation, you guys are more used to eating the preservative foods, the box foods, the cereals, the crackers, the Lipton soups, the stuff like that, which before you know it, does enough damage to the pancreas to basically put that onset a lot earlier in life.
Wow.
So to answer the question, after I was done with my 23-year career in the automotive industry, I thought I want to get into the restaurant business, and I always had trouble finding a fun food, fast food, basically made healthier, and that's our marketing stay here. And I think over it'll be 8 years, April 2nd coming up, 2020.
Congrats.
Thank you. That we've accomplished that, and we have a lot of repeat customers, and as our customers and people in general are becoming more educated on this matter, we have to believe that preservatives are a killer of our health system.
Yeah.
So having done what we are doing, I guess we see that people are coming back. Our retention's pretty good, which we're really extremely happy with. I think we're doing the right thing, and people just feel great after eating a meal here at KooKoo's Kitchen. They don't get that bloatiness feeling, and why is that? We limit the Himalayan salt on some of the foods that we use. We use Carolina's Rose Healthiest cooking oil, a natural from flour, giving you, I believe, a much healthier product when deep fried. Zero cholesterol, great source of omega-3 and 6, and the absolute lowest in saturated fat. So there are different ways that we could cook a meal much healthier.
Right. So that's kind of my next question, because I understand here, people are literally like knocking down your door. Minutes before you guys open, it's like, open up.
Yeah, for sure.
So you guys pride yourself on being healthier. I know you've commented on a few things. Is there something specific you guys do? Because looking at your Instagram page, if you haven't eaten here, you're like, oh my God, healthier. Yeah. How can this be? Because it looks unbelievable. So is there something specific that you're like, you know what, we do X, Y, and Z to make sure it's more cautious?
Absolutely. And the best way for me to explain this is we have basic rules in place.
Yeah.
So number one, we don't buy anything, edible already prepared.
Oh, okay, perfect.
All right.
Okay.
So we know what is going to be going into what it is we're cooking. We don't have any walk-in freezers that we walk in and pull out a bag of frozen onion rings that are breaded, which I don't agree with. You're going to be beer battered. All natural Colossus style. Everything's got to be Colossus. But no, really. So what I like to do, one of the rules we have here, our fundamentals, is we like to add lemon zest and juice to our meats. So whether it be poultry or fish, and our two qualities of beef, the AAA lean beef and the certified Angus beef. So by doing that, we could try and balance that alkalinity and pH levels and sweet and try and counter that a bit. So by doing that, the finished product for you, while you're digesting those big burgers or whatever, is you're going to get a more settled feeling, I guess, in your stomach. Yeah, that's basically the fundamentals. Here is you order fry. We'll take a russet potato, we cut it manually, we wash it. And we blanch our fries, of course. And again, going back to having a healthier cooking oil. And by the way, we also, we don't go over 350 degrees in the canola flour oil, because anything more than that starts to lift the amount of saturated fat in the finished product. So we take a little longer. There's, we take a little longer in deep frying the foods, whether it be our fish and chips, which, by the way, we are a 7-year Platinum Award recipient with Vaughan, Reader's Choice.
Sorry, can you go back just a tad? So, if you keep it under a frying temperature,
Correct.
what happens?
Yeah, so every oil has a certain temperature that saturated fats start to increase.
Oh, interesting.
So for example, I believe in olive oil, as soon as it gets up to that 100, 110, 100.
It's not high.
Which isn't high, correct?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going up 20, 30, 40, 50% more saturated fat.
Do you know why that is?
I guess it has to do with the amount of resistance that the oil has against heat. So, and we know what it tastes like when you have some butter and you melt the butter in a frying pan. You're gonna maybe make an egg or a pancake or something like that, or a French toast. Sure, it tastes great. Saturated fats taste great. And that's our challenge every day, is making our food still taste great and trying to limit those saturated fats.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the style of cooking. Another example of that, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers or people will know in general, that there's a lot of flat top restaurants doing my kind of thing, burgers for this case. And doesn't matter. Harvey's,
Sorry, can you be
McDonald's,
more specific? What is, like, I understand what you're saying. What's a flat top restaurant?
Okay, so the best example I can give you in mentioning the Golden Arches, McDonald's, all their burgers, which are frozen, we all know that, they put them at a high heat, flat top, and there's a big reason for that.
Okay.
A flat top burger may taste better if you just eat the patty, a good quality patty off the flat top. But the reason for that is because what it's doing is it's got high heat, flat, and you're basically sizzling or searing the correct. That fat that's coming out of the meat back into the meat. Whereas I like to char a little more and more slower cook, again, lowering that heat a little bit and taking a little longer and having the saturated fat ooze out and stay out. So we like to roll our burgers a little thicker to maintain that juice, and yet having the right temperature, of course, before serving, and creating as much juice as we can.
So I know that I very rudely interrupted you, and I'm so sorry. I was just curious about a few different things. I digress super easily, but I know that you were going into saying something about fish and chips. Sorry, do you remember?
Yeah, so basically, growing up in the era of a true fish and chip, and to me that's a halibut. For those of you who don't know, a halibut's a nice, thick, dense, white fish.
Yeah,
it's a much bigger fish. It's very meaty, very tasty. It does not smell in any way. And besides that, if you look this up, a halibut fish actually per gram or per ounce contains the most amount of the cleanest protein in the world. Yeah, and so does typical Atlantic salmon or something like that. So we'll serve an 8-ounce cut of halibut with each and every order, and that'll ensure 46 grams of the cleanest protein in the world. So, so in saying that, I wanted to be able to bring back the nostalgic fish and chip, and I had to make sure that it had there was a way that we could prove that was healthier than eating that deep fried fish, and we have, there are options today, and that's what we're trying to do and promote with today's customers. It's an extremely competitive industry, and we all know the push for restaurants like mine has got to start to be that. I know it is for us, about making that food healthier and giving that option, because we are a little more, let's say, expensive to have a meal. It will
Higher
range
end.
from $15 to $20, I guess, per meal. But at the end of the day, you're just eating that much better of a product anyway. And we pride ourselves on service. So we'll try to give you the whole food, go down, put it all together in one time.
So you guys really pride yourselves on kind of before the food even comes in the door and steps, processes, procedures to make sure that you guys are serving the best product.
Yeah, I'll give you another example of that. Chicken, white chicken breast. I only buy a white free-run chicken breast because these are things that I believe in the way I like to eat. So I want to make sure that the better products are available. I'm sure we all know, I'm not trying to be the educator here, but we've seen this, whether it's television or news or YouTube, it doesn't matter. But a lot of the chickens that are out there today in your grocery stores or especially the fast food industry are just filled with tons of antibiotics and pumped up with liquids, and then these chickens and stuff, they start to decrease in size, and you can just taste a difference.
Yeah.
We all know this. Like, it's no secret anymore. You buy quality meat, you're gonna get a quality finish, as long as, I guess, the chef or the cook's in line with things. But so we'll use only a free-run white chicken breast. You'll notice them in your grocery stores because they're not as clumpy, but the taste is much better, okay?
They're actually real.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we like to do is offer a butterfly 6 to 8 ounce cut of chicken breast, and you can have it breaded, no problem. We have our own pancos and breadcrumbs and spices and stuff that we could deep fry your chicken, or you could have it grilled, is the way I like to have it. And by grilling it, what we like to do, because my biggest pet peeve always was eating dry chicken, right? I think everybody's had that before. And the reason for that is that chefs like to prepare and they pre-cook their stuff too, right? We like to just simply marinate the chicken in our homemade chipotle sauce, which is, by the way, probably 90% of our customers' favorite sauce here that we make in-house. So we'll marinate that chicken breast in the chipotle, and then when you order it, that's when we start cooking that chicken breast. It's not pre-cooked, it's not whatever, it's not dried out. So when you bite into our chicken breast sandwich, you are gonna be wowed, because the taste of the chipotle sauce marinating that chicken and having it really juicy off the grill is a great experience, and I'm told this many times.
Okay, so we've talked about a good amount of things that you have on your menu, and they're everything's different. So you go from fish and chips to Angus burgers to fresh chicken. What is the most popular thing on your menu?
Yeah, I'm actually asked this question quite a bit, and I have to admit, the burgers by far are #1 selling item. So don't have a cheat meal or an affair with a place. Come on over and have a clean burgers affair. And that's where you'll see a lot of that on our Instagram social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and Google especially. And that's where that comes into play. So let's not just be visually attracted to something because you may feel the guilt. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I don't want you to feel the guilt a lot, like let's keep it clean.
So kind.
Yeah, let's keep it clean and have a nice finished product.
Okay, well, one thing that really drew me towards you guys, it was my selling feature. Other than anywhere that I go that has onion rings, I'm an onion ring girl. Right. But the thing that actually sold me, and I would like for you to talk to me about it, because I don't actually know what's in it or what it's called. Kind of looks like a beef shawarma looking thing. Ooh, what is it?
Yes, this is, I am so excited that you brought this up, because
so am I.
Being in the business, you always want to try and figure out a new I guess, a new market or something new that works.
Your niche.
Our niche.
Yeah.
And I found this with what we call the carboni wrap.
Okay.
So having an Italian background and loving pizza, I've always really liked the charred thin crust pizza, right? One of my favorite things to eat. So I said to myself, well, how can I incorporate this idea into KooKoo's Kitchen's menu? And I came up with barbecuing the thin, non-preservative and wraps, right? So yeah, we offer what's called, sorry, I have to go back here.
Yeah, talk.
The carboni wrap was introduced in our secret agenda menu, which is not found on our menu board.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Strictly found on it's strictly found on our social media platforms. And
Okay.
the reason for that is because I've always been able to gravitate to the foodies, the real foodies that are, right? With the camera in hand and venturing out and doing road trips to all these different restaurants to see what's new and attractive or tasty out there. And so that's why I keep it a part of that. So if you guys ever want to, please, venture out onto one of our page and just go through there and you'll see some pretty fun stuff. But yeah, the carboni wrap is great. It's filled with only organic and non-GMO toppings. And we don't like to talk about what's in it,
Okay.
right? We like to keep that as a mystery because I've proven this. I've had so many people ask me what's in it. I tell them, don't worry, just trust the chef here.
Fine.
Give it a shot, and if you don't like it, it's money back guarantee. And I've yet to hear someone say to me, that was awful. Now, if you say to me, well, I am allergic to onions and I don't want it, well then yeah, of course. I'm not gonna feed you onions, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see you blister out or call 911. And anyway, so yeah, that's what we're doing. And we only put homemade sauces inside. So going back to what I was gonna say is the one question we ask you is how do you enjoy eating?
Okay.
Do you like it hot? Do you like it mild?
Okay.
Or maybe you just want it sweet. And that's
Oh.
it. One of those three things and we'll get you going. We're gonna fill it. We're gonna press it at high heat. Then we're gonna take it over to the barbecue and we're gonna grill it nice, both sides.
So two? You're gonna press it and grill it?
Correct.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, there's a few reasons for that. And going back to the healthier part of things. So what will happen is when you see grill marks on breads, whether it's a pizza style bread or whether it's a wrap bread or any bread that you grill or toast at high heat, and you start to see grill marks of any sort, what you're in fact doing is removing the sugar from the bread, which to me, being a diabetic, is extremely important. So I kind of I've been doing this for a long time. All my breads that I eat, I like to toast them really well or eat brown bread. The darker the bread, the slower the release of sugars into your blood system. So in doing that, incorporating that with the wrap, we've got all kinds of grill marks and you'll see them in our pictures. And then what we like to do to balance that carbon or that char, because char isn't good to eat. It may become a carcinage in our system. So to try and balance that, we like to put a cold pressed Spanish olive oil brushed on top of your wrap. And then again with that lemon zest and juice to try and balance out that feeling, okay? And it seems to work. I have been told by many, many, many customers, as written and commented on Instagram and Facebook, this is the best thing I've ever eaten.
Amazing.
End quote, it ends it. And I promise that, guys.
I honestly can speak about food all day.
Yeah.
So my last food-related question. I came across and fell in love with you guys through Instagram. And I scrolled and scrolled and scrolled and scrolled for days. And one thing that I realized is with all of your finished products, whether it be the wrap, the burger, not like the halibut,
Right.
but they tend to be, for a lack of better term or word, really like juicy and wet. Where does that come from?
I'm getting excited.
Sorry.
Juicy and wet. Let me just readjust here. No, yeah. So, as I was mentioning, our burgers, what we like to do, whether it's a 4 ounce, 6 ounce, 8 ounce, or 12 ounce, and by the way, the 12 ounce are 2 6s, because otherwise it's just way too big.
Yeah.
But
hard to cook.
Yeah, what we like to do, instead of going wide on the building of the burger or handcrafting that burger, make a little shorter, more thicker of a finish, whether it's a 4, 6, or 8, because those are all one patties, okay? And again, we char, so if you don't do something like that, keep it thin, you're gonna flatten the burger way too much. It's gonna overflop over the bread, and you're gonna dry out the meat quicker, okay? Once again, we don't flat top, okay, where we're sizzling the fat back into it, so it doesn't matter how thin a patty is. If you could just think of a McDonald's patty.
So wait, you don't flat top. What do you?
So we char. That's
okay,
what
got it.
We char broil. We bring the heat up to probably around that 500 to 600 degree mark, and it just seems to work well, making it a little bit of making the patty a little thicker. So that's what you're looking at when you're seeing those nice pictures, is the juice just slowly oozing out of the meat, which makes it very tasty, of course. But yeah, I hope that answers that question.
It does. Okay, so we'll move on. Clearly you're very passionate, and you have a lot of like culinary background, I find. From, I don't know whether it's like trial and error, but you know, okay, we're not into flat topping, we'll char as our preference, and here are the reasons why. What did you do before this?
Yeah, the culinary part, a lot of it is having an interest in cooking. I've really got into the veggies, the plant-based, organic, non-GMO veggies. I've been doing a lot of reading and research on that as well, and that's going to be a lot of our next phase. Like we've just recently introduced an all-organic veggie burger, all-organic vegan burger, which is approved, and I think it's great. Grilling your vegetables with very little oils on it, if not none. You don't need oil to make things taste better. Right?
Yeah, they'll caramelize.
They'll start to caramelize naturally, correct. And if you're gonna use salts and stuff like that, stick to the Himalayan, the pink salts. When you do your research on the pink salts, you'll see quickly they're great. They help lower blood sugar. They help or metabolizing blood sugar levels and lowering blood pressure, which is the exact opposite from a processed white salt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I recommend that. Little sprinkles, you know, some quick grill marks, and that's it. Don't overcook your veggies or meats. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You're not in any danger if you eat stuff with that maybe is not as cooked as you would think you'd like it to be. If that makes sense.
That reminds me of like an older school parent mentality.
Right.
My parents are Jamaican, so they're like, cook everything. And then I eat my steak rare, and my mom's like, oh.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
It's a new generation.
Yeah.
So once again, we're really back on food. Before this, what did you do?
Oh yes.
Right?
Right.
We can talk food all day.
Yeah. So before this, you know, I was in the car industry basically.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I started out as being a sales consultant, and within the first year, I moved up that corporate ladder pretty quick. Again, another passion of mine: vehicles and machines and stuff like that. So yeah, I had a great career and went on to, from the sales part of things, I went on to sales training. I went on to building and establishing some really good sales departments. I have a few accolades under my belt as well, I'm very proud of. And, you know, again, after that 23 years, it just kind of got unchallenged. Is that something I could say?
Yep.
And just found to be more of a routine type job. And also, you know, I'd like to say on the corporate side of things too, everything became so much more demanding. And, You know, if I can't give my best on something I'm doing and I don't feel challenged anymore, and now I'm in front of a computer instead of the customer or training my staff, is where I think time should be spent.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of got turned off by that. And I wanted to get into my next love, which was food. Basically, that's it in a nutshell.
It's so interesting. There's so many people out there that got into an industry for like, I love connecting with clients and my guests and being there and overseeing their expectation. And it turned into more sales and everything. And everyone was like, I'm okay. I'm out of this.
Yeah, you know, I used to be asked a lot of times by sales consultants or professionals, you know, but like, how much time do I have to spend in this to start, you know, generating
yeah.
an income that's suitable for my needs?
Yeah.
And as well, it's very simple. The more passionate you come across to your customer in doing something, the financial part of things just comes into play. Because now people want to be with you. They
Yeah.
want to be around you. They are listening to what you're saying. And they begin to believe what it is you are saying in your sales or your pitch. And it's proven by your referrals. Because a lot of professionals or entrepreneurs that are doing well, they're doing well for a reason. And really, when you think deep why entrepreneurs that are doing very well, I like to put them in a little bit of a category. Like I think, you know, basically 20% of the successful entrepreneurs are really good and unique in something. And when that's portrayed to the public, I believe it's just a universal thing that people start to gravitate to you. They maybe start to let go of, you know, people that maybe aren't as successful or entrepreneurs that aren't as successful in what the demand is. Mm-hmm. And I believe in that strategy for sure. Do things because you want to,
right,
as opposed to doing things because you have to.
It should be more about passion than anything.
Absolutely.
So I just got a really good insight. You have quite a few loves, quite a few hobbies, things that you really do excel at. Was there something that as a kid you were like, I really want to do this?
There's something, well, you know, one thing that's coming to mind is I used to give a lot of my time towards my passion towards cars, mm-hmm, machines. That is something where I spent a lot of my time with growing up, through, you know, through my teens especially. And it just taught me that basically when you really feel good about doing something, it doesn't feel as work anymore.
Yeah. It's like your
Whether
passion.
it was washing my car or readjusting my carburetor or, you know, figuring out how brake system works on cars and then doing them on my own. I'm still alive, still here, thank God. But yeah, I think that's the best answer I can give.
Amazing. That's really, really great. Is there anything else that you find, you know, didn't talk about, but people don't know much about this, or was this kind of an all-encompassing, give everyone a really good look and understanding of you and your business? I think we covered a lot. Mm-hmm. 95% of it was food,
sure,
but
yeah.
it's what a restaurant's all about.
Yeah.
Food and service.
So KooKoo's Kitchen right now is poised to start to expand. And
congrats.
Thank you. Before just jumping into expansion, I wanted to really make sure that the bases are all covered. As I don't expect anyone to invest their hard-earned money or credit in my company or me or my company if I don't have the basis in place.
The foundation.
The foundation, yeah. Correct. And I believe we've done that now. And some of the attributes I could talk about is being, you know, reposted well over 6,000 times now by the consumer, not by, you know, just me, but and what customers are saying, whether it's a Google review or whether it's comments that are posted, and people will refer KooKoo's Kitchen if they had a good experience.
Yeah.
And we've been able to accomplish that. And what does that mean now? Well, the demand comes in now. When are you opening up a location in Oakville? When are you coming to Scarborough? What about Toronto? So when you start to see that time and time again, or hear that time and time again, I think it's time.
Yeah.
You know, April 2nd will mark our, I think I mentioned, our 8th year, and we're excited. We are so excited to be starting to grow the company slowly in different locations, locales, and markets, and they will be different. You'll see what I mean in the near future.
Do you have your eye, I don't even know if I can ask that, do you kind of have your eye on where you want your next location to be?
Absolutely. If all goes well, we will be opening within the next 6 months to a year.
Congrats.
South of Togogo, thank you.
Oh, amazing.
That's
okay.
gonna be that's a big location for us, both in entrepreneurs would like that location, but more so we know that a big portion of our clientele travels north, believe it or not, to KooKoo's Kitchen from South of Togogo. Why exactly that is, I maybe don't know, but I understand from the customer they don't have anything like this in that area.
Got it.
And we're not that far in terms of getting out here using the 427
Yeah.
South, if I may. Makes it a pretty quick little jaunt. So maybe that could be a good reason why traveling distance, but definitely a huge KooKoo's Kitchen customer base is coming from that area, so we want to fulfill that area first. And then we're going to move into the east end, into Scarborough, somewhere off the 401, I would think. And we're stuck between Markham and or Richmond Hill.
Amazing.
Being the third location. Definitely right after that, we're going to move into Mississauga, Brampton,
We'll take
Oakville,
you.
and Burlington.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I know in my head I have one more question, and I've always been curious about this. Your name, the name of your business, where did you come up with that?
Very easy. It's kind of a nickname that stuck with me, and it was first said by my mom. She called me a cuckoo for a reason. Growing up, I was crazy about, how do they say, oh yeah, if anyone remembers this tagline, I was cuckoo for
Cocoa Puffs?
Right?
Yeah.
So my mom used to say to me, oh my God, you love these cereals so much, I'm gonna start calling you a cuckoo. And then it became that, right? It was like, cuckoo, get your finger under your sister's eyes. Cuckoo, get up, you're gonna be late for school. So it just kind of stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah.
Well, that just reminded me of my family dynamics. Where do you land in your family?
Well, I'm the oldest of 2 children. Yes.
Of course.
Yeah,
Hence you having your finger in your sister's eyes.
that's
Yep. I'm the little sister.
She still loves me. She does work with me, and I try to do what I can to make up for that. So
Amazing. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you.
same here. God bless
Thank
you
you.
and what you're doing. I think you're an exact example of what passion does. And
Oh, thank you.
I really do appreciate your time and help in getting this all off the ground. It's great.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for kind of taking the time
Thank
to
you
talk
to
with
the viewers,
us.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
'Cause people, obviously Instagram and social media, it's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
It expands everyone's horizon,
Sure.
but yeah, you are a little bit off the path, but people travel
Yes.
to come see you specifically.
Yes,
And I want
absolutely.
people to know how great your business is.
Thank you.
So anyone who's watching, please come out, visit his restaurant. He is unbelievable, but his food, well, they're both unbelievable. Him and his
Thank you
food,
so
unbelievable.
much.
So please come out. Thank you as always for liking, commenting, and sharing. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting local.